investigation was closed and he was cleared, but to be able to keep his focus, I thought was really impressive, right? The team as well. You know, a veteran team was able to do that. I think if you had some young guys, it might have rattled them. Who knows how it would have turned out. But what Todd Golden did, and I think you can do it different ways. Obviously, we see that, right? Kelvin Sampson, Bruce Pearl are incredible coaches. But to me, the new age, these young guys in this world of NIL, the transfer portal, Todd Golden has a major leg up, and what he and his staff have done. Give his staff a ton of credit because, again, he's got some analytics guys in there, and he's mixed them with some basketball guys, and it has worked because I think Todd has some – he's way more emotional, but he's got some Brad Stevens in him with that component of what he does. Brad Stevens is a master of trying to mix the analytics and the basketball, and I think Todd has embraced that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and I've been saying it all year. The job that him and his staff did addressing – this is one of them right here, okay? This is one of them right here,
man.
this guy.
It's fall going on right now.
Gators, baby.
Jonathan Safir.
Gator boys stay hot, baby.
Congrats.
Jonathan, do you have 2 minutes for us? Here, take a seat. Take my seat. Yeah, of course
you can have your drink.
Take my seat,
What's the
Coach.
drink? What are we drinking?
Director of Basketball Strategy. Jonathan, I'll ask away and then give it to these guys. This group, 3 straight games, is facing deficits to some of the very best teams in the country. Coach even said, look, tonight I was a little concerned. We're going down 12 to Houston. You're the man behind all the analytics, but there's no analytics always for heart. What was the heart of this team?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the heart of this team, the heart and soul of this team, obviously is Walter Clayton's incredible greatness. But when you peel that back, the championship pedigree, the experience, the toughness, a lot of that comes from Elijah Martin. And I think when we were down 4 against Carolina in the non-conference back in December, it was really the first time, at the end of 4 media timeout, it was the first time all year we had felt or seen real adversity. Down 4 minutes to go, and I'll never forget it. And I think it was, I don't want to say it was the turning point of the season because we were undefeated at the time, and we just can't finish off a 36-4 season. It wasn't like we were 6-6. We were 11-0 or whatever it was. But Elijah walks in that huddle and says, we're winning this game. It's winning time. And we turned around and won that game. And that's kind of just been the MO. Every under 4 media, no matter the score, up 4, down 4, up 3, down 7, it's winning time.
But when you've done it before, when you do it over and over again on a night like tonight, right, it makes it a little bit easier to say, like, okay, you know what? I mean, Houston was getting the better of you for most of the night, but you were able to flip it. How? How are you guys able to flip it? Because they were smothering Walt.
The heart and soul and resiliency of champions. Winning plays, ending the game on a, Walt's obviously known for his incredible offensive prowess and struggled tonight offensively a little bit. They were doing an incredible job guarding Walt and putting 2 on the ball consistently. And Walt made the game-ending play with his defense. And then Conda diving on the floor. Just an all-time moment, all-time memory. But it was winning play after winning play. They had 5 offensive rebounds in the first 5 minutes of the game, and they went to halftime with 6. And then I don't know how many they finished with, but they only won one-on-one box out. They had a couple offensive rebounds where on an air ball, a rotational block out where Ruben went to block a shot, and then there was nobody on the weak side. They got the putback. I think they finished with, I haven't looked at the box score, but probably 11 or 12 offensive rebounds, which means they had 6 in the second half probably. But they only had 1 or 2 where they won 50-50 balls. And that just shows the testament, the grittiness, the toughness of our team, because we told our guys all along, Houston is not the greatest first shot offense. They get out in transition with steals, and they use the defense to create offense, and they get on, and then they get on the glass, and they get to the free throw line. And if we can limit one of those things, either live ball turnovers, which we did not do in the first half, or offensive rebounds, we'd have a great chance.
So, Alex Condon, we were talking about this. In the first 6-7 minutes, it looked like he was not comfortable with the speed and the athleticism, and it took him a while to settle in. And you guys did this the other night, too, where your game plan is we're going to go one-on-one against Janai Broome. Doesn't work in the first half. We're sticking with it. I thought that Alex Condon played about as bad as he's played all year for about the first 8 minutes or so, especially offensively. You stuck with him, and he made a lot of big plays for you guys down the stretch. Why do you guys Where does that come from, that confidence in your group and belief that what we're doing is the right way?
Yeah. It's funny you say that with how poorly you perceived him to play to start the game, and he obviously had 3 turnovers in the first half, 2 in the first 8 minutes. And it looked like he was a little bit sped up. But from our standpoint, it was actually good to see him get a dunk in transition to start the game and then put 2 free throws in. You know, he had, the reality is he'd struggled in the postseason with making free throws and finishing around the basket. It's okay. It happens. It's basketball. But to see him put those couple of balls in and then the free throws in and whatnot, the turnovers were doing things that we had kind of game planned not to do. You know, opening up the wrong way on ball screens, getting sped up, not meeting the pass. If they put 2 on the – Houston does – they're the best defense in the country. They do such a good job of putting 2 on the ball and then trying to corral or sprint out the short roller, and they try and play his ball on the catch. And we all the last 48 hours, we spent a lot of time talking about meeting the pass and then knowing that the guy was going to try and not only run through the passing lane, but he's going to try and play your ball on the catch, and you can't get sped up. And we showed him the film. We showed him the clips on the bench with the iPads. And we thought, you know, he's a great learner. He's obviously a great player with a lot of confidence in him, that he would make those adjustments after seeing it live in real time. And so it's funny that you say you thought he struggled to start, because obviously he did struggle with turnovers.
I think he meant after that.
Yeah.
That initial.
Of course.
minute or
But I
two.
mean, honestly, relative to how he played on Saturday offensively, we'd rather him make those mistakes of trying versus kind of being a little too tentative or passive.
Jonathan, I don't think it gets talked about enough, the job you guys did in the transfer portal addressing the issues on the defensive end of the floor last year. When you bring in a guy like Chinleyu, when you bring in a guy like Elijah Martin that kind of anchors your defense, that doesn't get talked about enough. Talk about the thought process last year when the clock hits 0 and you guys jump in the portal and you bring those guys in. Like, what went into that?
That's a great question. And last year when the clock hit 0 would have been 2.5 weekends ago.
Yeah.
And the transfer portal was already open.
Right.
And now we're going to hit the portal starting tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday after we celebrate.
Yeah, definitely not tomorrow. We're going to celebrate first.
We're going to be 3 weeks. We're going to be 3 weeks behind teams, and so we're at it's. I know I talked about it with John either yesterday or the day before. They all blend together, but the reality is, the transfer portal opening during the NCAA tournament puts us at a competitive disadvantage for next year's
100%.
roster, when winning should not be mutually exclusive with helping your roster for next
100%.
year. Obviously, we'd rather take the trade and have played this late, win or lose tonight, have played this late versus being portaling all day. But to your point, now last year we went in the portal after Colorado scored like 12 straight possessions or something ridiculous to end the game, or in the middle of the second half. And we said we needed somebody to guard the ball and a little more rim protection, and obviously Elijah Martin and his championship pedigree, his experience, his toughness, his ability to guard the ball, in addition to what we were allowing him to do offensively, to handle the ball a little more, play out of ball screens, be more of a decision maker. And then Ruben Chinyelu with his toughness makes all the difference in the world, because we thought we had great pieces. And then one part that's not talked about enough, and we'll probably go through it to some extent with Thomas and Kondo this year with the draft process. Obviously, if they can be lottery picks or top 20 picks, they have to go pro or should go pro. But if they can't do that, they should come back to school. But with Will and Walt, they went through the draft process last year, and you know, we can tell them until we're blue in the face that, hey, they need a guard, they got to do this. But hearing it from an NBA teams consistently, they needed to improve their defense, allowed for easier buy-in, more coachability on it, and just more total team buy-in. And then Elijah's leadership and bring them together was just the difference defensively.
Give me your favorite Todd Golden story through this run. Give me something that we didn't see behind the scenes.
I mean, he's a special dude, and I think one of the most amazing things is just his consistency. If you walked into our team breakfast this morning, if you were at our shoot-around today, you would see the same guy, whether we were playing Grambling State in November, whether we were playing Arkansas on the road after being 1-1 in league in January, or playing for the national title game. And having said that, one of the cool stories is he's arguably the best shooter I've ever seen, and maybe still in our program, even with Walter Clayton. And we end every shoot-around with a half-court shooting contest, players versus coaches. And today the players made once, and the coaches all get to shoot, and our staff made 0. And Todd is always the last one to go, and Coach Golden made his. It's tied up at 1-1. So then we go into a 5-person shoot-off. And if one of the players made 1, our staff made 0 until Coach Golden ended it with 1. We did it again at best-of-3 playoff. One of the players made 1. The first 2 guys on our staff made 0. Coach Golden made 1. Then it was a one-on-one shootout, and the player that we chose missed. It was actually a walk-on, Kevin Pasmino, who made two of the 3 to start. And then Coach Golden made his. He made 4 straight half-court shots today to win the half-court shooting contest.
Come on, he did not.
Swear to God, you could ask him.
4 straight.
4 straight.
Unreal.
Well, maybe that was a sign.
Yes.
Exactly.
For tonight.
It was a good omen